Fallout New Vegas might never get an official remaster, and it's not because Bethesda doesn't want to, it's because the source code may not even exist anymore. Here's what happened. If you've been riding the Fallout New Vegas remaster hype train just like me, we might have to pump the brakes for a little bit. Because 2 days ago, Chris Avellone, one of the actual developers who built Fallout New Vegas, sat down with YouTuber TK Mantis and dropped something that's been blowing up across the Fallout community. He said Bethesda might not even have the engineering know-how to remaster New Vegas at all, and the reason why is pretty important, and it shows just how brutal the gaming industry can actually be. Let's get into it. First, real quick, if you don't know who Chris Avellone is, this isn't just some random dude with a YouTube opinion. He was a senior designer on Fallout New Vegas, the guy who personally wrote Cass, the character of Ulysses, and directed the entire DLC trilogy. Dead Money, Old World Blues, and Lonesome Road. 3 DLCs that most people consider some of the best writing in the entire Fallout franchise. He also co-founded Obsidian Entertainment and compiled the Fallout Bible. When he talks about what happened behind the scenes, he was actually there at Obsidian. He's not just speculating from the outside. He was actually the guy in the room. So here's what Chris Avellone said. In the interview, I want to walk through this carefully because there's a lot packed into what he said. He basically said flat out, I don't think Bethesda has the engineering know-how to make a New Vegas remaster at all. Now that's a wild thing to say on its own, but then he goes on to explain why. At the end of New Vegas development, Bethesda had a final few milestones so they could make some extra money that was written into the contract. It was a pretty simple ask for Obsidian to deliver the source code and the assets for the game, and then Bethesda would pay them $10,000. Sounds like a normal contract term, right? But, except for Obsidian CEO Fergus Urquhart, if I'm saying that right, never cashed that check. He never delivered it, and what Chris Avellone says is basically, he says that he has some suspicions that we have to go back in time to confirm. In 2010, Fallout New Vegas launched. Within 1 month, it ships 5 million copies and generates $300 million in revenue. Think about that, $300 million. Off of a game that Obsidian built in 18 months on a flat fee deal, no royalties, because that's just the contract that they signed. Obsidian got a fixed payment for making this game. That's it. No back end, no cut of sales. The only way they made extra money was just hitting these few milestones. The big milestone is that they would get a pretty big bonus if they hit an 85 or higher on Metacritic, which would trigger a bonus. The game scored an 84, so 1 single point, and they would have got more money. I'm not sure how much they got, but they got nothing. Avellone confirmed all this back in 2012. It's documented that this happened, so Fergus decided not to hand over the source code to him for the $10,000. And Avellone kind of believes it was actually intentional, a way of making sure Bethesda couldn't turn around and make more money off the game almost, without some heavy engineering or having to put money back into it, because Obsidian didn't see a single cent of that bonus. Whether that's exactly right, we don't know for sure. We haven't heard from Urquhart. But the theory does make sense when you understand the history of it. Avellone is not saying without 100% certainty that the code is gone. His actual words were saying, I'm not saying Bethesda doesn't have the source code for New Vegas. They may have aspects of the code, but everyone that he talked to after that period of time said they had no idea how to reassemble it. But he's going off conversations he's had with formal colleagues. There's no actual documents or files that he's seen or talked about. He wasn't there when Fergus made that decision. He's piecing it together the way that he just kind of heard. But he definitely has a lot more inside knowledge than the typical person, as he was a developer for the game. But there's also a complicating factor that headlines keep glossing over, how Microsoft and Bethesda own Obsidian, and he kind of touched on this. If the code exists anywhere inside of Obsidian's servers, it's technically under the same corporate umbrella. Avellone addressed this, and he said just because 2 studios share the same parent company does not mean that they're going to work together too great. It doesn't mean they're going to operate like one team. They can still function like rivals sometimes. They secure more funding from their parent company. And honestly, knowing how game studios work with all these layoffs and everything, that really makes a lot of sense. Now, this all seems doom and gloom for the hope of a New Vegas remaster, but what we do know is that a Fallout 3 remaster is in the works, so Avellone speculated how it could be accomplished. He pointed to the Oblivion Remastered, which I'm sure it's going to be getting the same treatment. Built around the original Gamebryo engine, with Unreal Engine 5 running underneath, wrapped around it for visuals. Virtuos Studios did the heavy lifting, and the result was pretty good. I mean, the game looked great. I mean, I played it a little bit. I kind of fell off after playing it for probably about 30 hours or so, but some of the things were, it had a pretty good reception overall. Avellone said that the approach might be one of the only ways that you could actually realistically do a New Vegas remaster. But he said it is key to test it out on Fallout 3 first to see before getting into something a little more complicated if you have to mangle the code back together for New Vegas. But for sure, we know the Fallout 3 remaster leaks are real. The court documents, the toy listings, the insider reports. Fallout 3 Remastered appears to genuinely be in development, so maybe that's exactly what's happening. Bethesda figures out the technical aspects and the process of it on Fallout 3, and then they can move everything over to New Vegas after. I hope to God that they do, because I need a New Vegas remaster. Fallout 3, they own the code to. They fully own that game outright, so they definitely have the source code for it laying around somewhere. But here's a reality check. In truth, if they don't have that code, wrapping Unreal Engine 5 around it is not really going to do much. They're going to have to almost rebuild that game essentially from the ground up, and that's not an easy task. So hopefully they're able to find that and source it together. That's just a full remake, entirely different scope, budget, and risk level. 1,000 different things could go along, and the development for it could take years. So where does this leave us? The most honest read is that a New Vegas remaster is not impossible, but the road to it is a little messier than we thought originally. There's a 15-year-old grudge baked into the foundation of this whole situation, so maybe, I don't know. But Chris Avellone, somebody who knows about it, says don't hope on it. Does that kill it for me personally? Not entirely. Microsoft has the money. The Fallout TV show proved that there's a renewed interest in this series, and the fan base is massive and growing. If we beg Microsoft corporate overlords enough to get us that game, hopefully they'll do whatever it takes to get it for us. For the love of God, I want a Fallout New Vegas remaster. Please. Please. But let's hear what you guys think. Drop your take down in the comments below. Do you think the code is actually gone? I've got a lot of respect for Chris Avellone. It seems like he definitely has a bitter taste in his mouth towards Bethesda, which understandably so. But anyway, smash the like button, subscribe if you want to see more Fallout content. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.